Iran has Brad Philpott, and also, as I say, he is the instigator and coordinator for the championship here, the British Rental Kart Championship. More noted lately for racing at Nürburgring in the various long distance races, the 24 hours and the VLN series there. Multiple race wins, former Red Bull kart fight winner. The list just goes on with Brad Philpott. Ross O'Meara is in there. Andrew Duff, who's been around the BRKC ever since its inception. He occasionally puts in a flyer of results, so we'll see what he can do on this one. Asim Akram, he is actually a lap record holder at Extreme Karting up in Edinburgh, so potentially there a star turn from him. Sam Spinell, very, very fast as a potential winner any time he's on the track. Dual British and Belgian nationality, competes in both championships, and a regular on the world stage. And then, of course, finally, where I started with Lewis Manley. Lewis Manley, he's a four-time winner of the track championship here at Formula Fast. Lewis Manley coming onto the backstretch now. Distinctive red overalls and mostly red helmet. Very easy to spot Lewis Manley, and always a front runner there. And the cars are now completing their qualifying runs. We've got Brad Philpott on the pole position. What will Lewis Manley do? This is the big question. And Lewis Manley, where is he going to come through? We've got Longman just crossing the line now. Lewis Manley is on the backstretch, I believe, somewhere. Where are we? No, Lewis Manley is in second place now. So a 33-2 for Brad Philpott. Lewis Manley comes through in second. It's Sam Spinell in third place. David Longman in fourth. Ross O'Meara fifth. Zach Venn in sixth. Andrew Duff up there in seventh place. Joris Sturm and Lewis Nurse and Asim Akram down in 10th place. Now this really shows the level in the BRKC of driving standard and the kind of speed you can expect from the competitors. There's Asim Akram. He was practicing here yesterday, doing fine in the practices. He is a lap record holder. He has blistering pace at his local circuit up there in Edinburgh, but here he is lining up last for his first BRKC heat race. Such is the standard and competition that he's up against. Right, so here they come round. Brad Philpott leads the way. He starts from pole position for this first heat race. He will be looking to get maximum points from this, but Lewis Manley, he has his sights on the title there. Sam Spinell right behind him and David Longman behind him. So, starting the race now, it is Brad Philpott in the lead from Lewis Manley and Sam Spinell. Brad Philpott desperately trying to extend the lead. He knows how important the opening lap is here, anywhere in fact, but if he can create a bit of a gap, that just takes the pressure off him for the pit stops. Brad Philpott possibly with the biggest lead of the opening laps we've seen so far yet in the BRKC. Down the backstretch, there's Philpott in the lead. He's got Lewis Manley behind him and Sam Spinell. Very clean getaway with equal gaps between the carts. Brad Philpott completes the opening lap still with the lead, but Lewis Manley just a cart length or so behind with Sam Spinell. Sam Spinell, another aggressive competitor. So Brad Philpott has two of the most aggressive people behind him, but an early pit stopper. My goodness, that is an early stop. The 17 cart, just going to get a check on who that is, but a very early stop. Opening lap pit stop there as Brad Philpott continued on his way. There he is from Lewis Manley and Sam Spinell and David Longman and the rest. It was in fact Asim Akram who made the early pit stop there. And unfortunately, the organisers have called it an invalid stop. He stopped too early. Into the pits, though, again. We have, and clouting the wall. My goodness. Hitting the wall going in. That's Lewis Nurse. Lewis Nurse, he makes his pit stop. He is the first real pit stopper. Poor old Asim Akram is going to have to come in again. He's stopped too early. They do have a rule where we need to get that first lap out of the way before anyone comes in. And unfortunately, Asim Akram falling foul of that. The bit earlier in the event to be making mistakes, but anyway, Asim Akram has made that error. Meantime, though, we've got a 3-car length lead by Brad Philpott. There, just going into the Snell section on screen. Brad Philpott with that 3-car lead. Lewis Manley, a similar lead over Lewis Manley. That looks like Andrew Duff in the pits now. He's moving. Oh gosh, he just got away with that one. And Andrew Duff has pitted. He's on another person in the pits. It is, in fact, well, that looks like Lewis Nurse. Lewis Nurse must have fallen foul of something during his pit stop. He makes another stop. It looks like it could be good. He comes back out. He's shaking his head as he leaves. Now, this is going to be interesting as Brad Philpott is closing in on Lewis Nurse, who has had to make 2 stops already. They're in the Snell section now. So, in front there, albeit a lap down. That's Lewis Nurse as he goes through in the number 10 cart, followed by the 20. Now here we are on the backstretch. Now here is Lewis Nurse. He's not leading the race. He's almost a lap down. There's Brad Philpott in 20. He's leading the race from Lewis Manley and then Sam Spinell. Now will Lewis Nurse be a factor in this race? They're crossing the line now. Brad Philpott is closing in on him all the time. Series organizer, instigator, organizer, and now race leader Brad Philpott is closing in on Lewis Nurse. He's right on his tail now. Brad is often one of the most demonstrative drivers. And he gets close in by Lewis Nurse. Lewis Nurse trying to stay out of the way, but there's almost a collision. Philpott though takes the position there, puts Lewis Nurse a lap down. Lewis Nurse right on Philpott's tail, and Brad Philpott continues in the lead. This is what he'll be hoping for. He wants Lewis Nurse to get under the feet of his namesake, Lewis Manley, behind him. Lewis Manley, we're going to see what he can do here. Surely he's going to have a look down in the Snell section. He does. Lewis Manley moves ahead of Lewis Nurse to continue his run on Brad Philpott. Now, the next person to tackle the back marker, Lewis Nurse, will in fact be Sam Spinell, the dual Belgian-British national. Though if you talk to him, he does tend to sound a bit more Belgian. Spends a lot of time racing out in Europe there, so Sam Spinell does have to get past the back marker if he's going to be a factor in this race. Philpott, Manley, and Spinell is still trying to work his way past Lewis Nurse. Not Nurse's fault, and they're side by side across the line. Nurse has the inside, he can't stay out of the way, and Spinell almost clouts the wall there, and we're looking in the Snell section. Spinell, he gets tapped at the back and waving away at Lewis Nurse, the back marker there. David Longman now is trying to put himself in the picture in 4th place. He's trying to do Lewis Nurse around the outside. He's got ahead of Lewis Nurse. So there's Brad Philpott on screen. Lewis Manley. Here comes Sam Spinell. He's lost time because of passing Lewis Nurse. There's David Longman and then Lewis Nurse, who we know, of course, is a lap down, having had a problem during the earlier pit stop, and he's made his, what is now going to be his 2 pit stops. So into the pits, looks like we've got a pit visitor. We've got somebody coming in, and it in fact is the 16 cart, and that is Joris Sturm. Joris Sturm is in the pits there. There he is. Looking good, looking good. He's looking for a green light. He gets the green light. There's Joris Sturm. Now, Andrew Duff chops across the front of Joris Sturm and takes 7th place from Sturm. Joris Sturm there in his first BRKC heat race. He has lost out to perennial competitor Andrew Duff, and Andrew Duff really turning on the style there. He's moved ahead of Sturm in that pit exit where he had to sweep across and take the position. Now the number 9 cart in, that is number 9 is Ross O'Meara. Ross O'Meara rejoining the track. He neither gains nor loses position there. Joris Sturm and Andrew Duff closing in on him though, although their private little battle continues. There's Brad Philpott on screen from Lewis Manley. Here they come around to start yet another lap. There's Sam Spinell trying to undo some of the damage from his earlier shenanigans with Lewis Nurse. So Brad Philpott now, an exceptional lap there, has put him into 32-second bracket there, 32.9. These are the kind of lap times we need to be seeing now as the races progress, and Brad Philpott is the fastest one on the track right now. However, he's only 0.2 of a second faster than the man chasing him down. That's Lewis Manley as they cross the line there. Lewis Manley in red, he's trying to close down the race leader. Sam Spinell is running a 33.3 as his personal best at the moment, which actually is a couple of tenths off the leaders. That's not going to help him in his pursuit of the race leader Brad Philpott or second place Lewis Manley. So Philpott is doing everything he can to try and build a bit of a workable gap so that he can make a pit stop and come out without having to actually fight Lewis Manley. Lewis Manley, of course, talking to him in the breakfast show this morning, he was looking at trying to take the title this year. He's one of the top British drivers, possibly the top British driver, arguably, at the moment in indoor karting. He's currently running second to Brad Philpott, and he really will be looking to try and take the lead in the pit stops from Brad. He doesn't seem to be able to do it on pure pace, which is saying something, because always a very fast driver around this track is Lewis Manley, so Philpott has it on pace. The question will be if Manley can out-strategise him in terms of when to make the pit stop, where you come in the pits, where you come out the pits, where the back markers are, and so on. Somebody very used to strategy is Sam Spinell, who's there running in third place. Sam Spinell, he's running a 33.3 at the moment, which is actually 0.4 of a second off Brad Philpott as a personal best. So really we're looking at Spinell actually losing time as the race goes on, although that does seem a strange thing to say about Lewis Manley. There's Sam Spinell, sorry. So here's Spinell on the backstretch there in the number 11. David Longman is trying to close him down, but he's a couple of tenths off Sam as well, so really he's losing time all the while. As we look now further around the track, here is Brad Philpott in the lead. There is Lewis Manley with a back marker between them, and Sam Spinell therefore will be following Lewis Manley, albeit quite a few car lengths back. So there's Lewis Manley going through the picture. This is the gap to Sam Spinell. Here comes Sam now. There's Brad Philpott. The back marker 17 is Asim Akram, who is a lap record holder at his local track up there in Scotland in Edinburgh. Such is the pace, though, that he's a lap down to Brad Philpott. Admittedly, he has made a pit stop. And Lewis Manley is in the pits from second place. There is Lewis Manley in the pits. He is taking the second part of the pit stop now. He leaves the pits now. Where will he cycle back out into the race? There's a bit of a bump and ball going on with Zach Venn. But no, Lewis Manley is quite out and clear. This is bad news for Brad Philpott and good news for Lewis Manley. Philpott would have liked Lewis Manley to come out right in the middle of some nasty traffic there. Philpott continues. He does not pit yet. It's going to be about when Brad Philpott pits out of the lead and what Lewis Manley can do about that. Still not pitting either is Sam Spinell nor David Longman. So what can they do on times? Lewis Manley, well, Brad Philpott is currently fastest still. Sam Spinell is still sitting on his 33.3, which is 0.4 of a second down. Maybe Sam Spinell is going to have to settle for third place, although he is running in second at the moment as a definition of Lewis Manley having made a pit stop and Sam Spinell has not. Here comes Brad Philpott to continue on yet another lap. He's clearly going for the late stopping strategy. While he has clear air in front of him, he's not particularly interested in taking the risk in making the pit stop. He has no need. He's controlling the race at the moment. He's dictating when he pit stops. Into the pits, I believe that could well be Longman. Longman pitting out of third place, and yes, he resumes now in fourth. He's being passed predictably by Lewis Manley, who was running ahead before his own pit stop a couple of laps before. So onto the backstretch. It looks like we're going to be seeing Lewis Manley. Yes, it is. Here is Lewis Manley. Now, Lewis Manley, he has a clear space in front of him. He is not looking at the back of any car. He's just got to lay down a whole bunch of fast laps if he has any hope of catching Brad Philpott for the race win. He's looking comfortable in second place, it has to be said, which for Lewis Manley is going to be a great set of points. I'm sure he'll be reasonably satisfied with that, but when you're at the standard of Lewis Manley and the level he's at driving around Formula Fast at the moment, he is a four-time track champion here. He, of course, will not be looking to settle for second. Anytime he's on that track, he's going to be looking for the win there, Lewis Manley. Now, we've got a bit of a battle further down the order there with Joris Sturm and Andrew Duff. They're really fighting hard over seventh place. But we've got Brad Philpott, I believe, in the pits. So Brad Philpott has pitted. No, he's I think he's been in the pits now. And so sorry about that. I've totally missed that one. Brad Philpott has pitted. Sam Spinell assumes the lead. And Brad Philpott is comfortably ahead of Lewis Manley. Okay, so let's have a look at exactly what this gap is. It's pretty much what it was before, it has to be said. Lewis Manley and Brad Philpott are the fastest two on the track. Sam Spinell is in the lead himself, and we're going to be waiting for him to pit and see where he comes out. But I predict that it's going to be pretty much the same sort of distance and position they were when they started. And number 8 is coming in the pits. That's Zach Venn. Zach Venn pitting out of fourth place. Zach Venn is going to lose a bunch of positions because obviously he was other carts behind him have pitted. He has not. The battle of Andrew Duff and Joris Sturm, and Zach Venn comes out right in the middle of it. It's a three-way fight over sixth place now, with Andrew Duff the beneficiary there as Sam Spinell continues. He does not pit yet, but a real battle going on down there for sixth place. Andrew Duff, Zach Venn and Joris Sturm fighting hard. There they are on screen now. That's onto the backstretch. Here we are. It's Andrew Duff leading from in this little battle from Zach Venn and Joris Sturm. a real fight going on there. That's the number 12. That's where the fight is in this race in terms of track position. So it is Andrew Duff. There's Sam Spinell, the race leader, on screen. There's Brad Philpott, we're seeing just passing by. We can assume he's going to take the lead when Spinell finally pits, which is not going to be this lap. He carries on. And Philpott does have a back marker, Asim Akram, running behind Spinell and ahead of himself. But Brad Philpott won't be worried about this. He moves ahead now, puts Akram a lap down. Philpott is in second, but he has that pit stop in hand. And Sam Spinell, when he pits, surely is going to lose position now. And the lead, a jump down the inside by Joris Sturm on Zach Venn there. A hugely aggressive move. That's to Andrew Duff's benefit, to be fair, because they both lost some time, but a very aggressive move into this final turn down here. Okay, so as we continue on with this race, we're just waiting for Sam Spinell to make his pit stop. When's he going to make it? He's leaving it as late as he can. He knows he's got clean air in front of him. He's got to lay down some decent laps to try and catch Lewis Manley, and equally importantly, stay ahead of David Longman, which is probably the biggest threat at the moment. Is more likely that Longman will actually leapfrog Spinell and he will actually catch Lewis Manley, I believe. So continue on is Sam Spinell. He does not stop this time either. There he is on screen, crossing the line now. And here comes Brad Philpott, and then Akram, who's a lap down as we know, and then Lewis Manley. So there's Brad Philpott, the nominal race leader, though, showing in second at the moment. Akram and Lewis Manley. Lewis Manley, really, he's going to be in second place. I cannot see him winning this race. There's not an awful lot of time left, but it's not going to be Lewis Manley race for sure. There's Philpott at the end of the back stretch. Sam Spinell, he does not pit this time either. Brad Philpott appears to be catching Sam Spinell actually on merit. Akram has allowed Lewis Manley through. Lewis Manley giving him a quick wave of thanks as they cross the start-finish line there. So there's Brad Philpott. Now we should be seeing Lewis Manley next. Yes, there he is. He's running in third place at the moment, which surely will become second when Sam Spinell makes the pit. Now, if we're looking at the backstretch, there's Spinell with the lead, and there's Brad Philpott. Now, Spinell has yet to pit, so he's surely going to go tumbling down the order there, way further back than Brad Philpott. Spinell continues on his way, crossing the line on screen now. Philpott, and then quite a long gap there to Lewis Manley in second place. So, Sam Spinell leading the way from Brad Philpott, and there's Lewis Manley just seeing the tail of his cart now. Sam Spinell, a veteran of indoor karting, very young guy still, but very, very experienced. Really, he's done his formidable best, but it's not been enough to take Brad Philpott. Sam Spinell still leads the race. Will he pit this time? No, he doesn't. He continues on. You can see the marker line there for people coming in the pits. Here's Lewis Manley in third place. Spinell, we're just waiting for him to make his pit stop, and whether or not David Longman in fourth place can actually find himself in third as Sam Spinell comes out the pits. Just around about 4 or so minutes remaining in this race, and Philpott, look at him, he's closing in to current race leader Sam Spinell. He could well find himself actually fighting with Spinell for the lead, and not just in terms of who's been in, who's been out the pits, but actually in combat. We've got a view now of Lewis Manley. Sam Spinell, of course, is our interest. They're coming on to the back stretch by the looks of things. It is Sam Spinell. He's got Brad Philpott right on his tail now. This is a battle for position, although Spinell does have a pit stop to make. It's quite astounding, Philpott's pace, and Spinell finally in the pits. Sam Spinell pits out the lead. Philpott assumes the lead. Sam Spinell's pit stop, it always seems to take so long when you're desperately waiting for that light to go green. As we can see in the TV screen there, the light has gone green for Spinell. Where does he resume? Surely it's going to be third place. Yes, it is, and he's got a comfortable distance over David Longman. So, well, it's interesting information coming from the race organisers there. Asim Akram, he needs to make a pit stop. We saw him pit on the first lap, which, of course, is not allowed. He needs to leave it late in that. It has to be the second lap or later. And Asim Akram has yet to serve his penalty pit stop, shall we say. And it's gosh, he's going to be getting last place points. There's absolutely no way that he's going to be able to claw anything back from this. He's running 9th at the moment. But unless he makes a pit stop, he's effectively going to be disqualified to last place by the organisers. And if he makes that pit stop, he's going to find himself dropping back to last anyway. So poor old Asim Akram, a lap record holder up there in Scotland, in Edinburgh, at Extreme Karting. Well, it's not going too well in his opening BRKC race, it has to be said. Asim Akram. He's there in the number 17. Meantime, there's the race leader on screen, Brad Philpott, a huge lead, the entire length of the backstretch. Now, to lead Lewis Manley by the entire length of the backstretch is really saying something. So a great run by Brad Philpott, really supreme driving there. And, well, Asim Akram has been given the invalid lap board now. This penalty is about as bad as you can get and still maintain a place in competition. And Brad Philpott is continuing around. Lewis Manley, I think they've been given the last chance to pit board. We're so close to the end of this race. We're going to be bringing the checker out. Asim Akram receives the flag. He knows he's got to come in, surely, although he may well be thinking that his first stop was all right. He's been caught now on the back stretch by one of the front runners. I think it may well be Sam Spinell. We'll see what happens. And maybe Akram will come into the pits, but it's all a bit no, he doesn't, and well, it's all gone badly wrong for Asim Akram in this opening race. Anyway, not going wrong at all is Brad Philpott, and Brad Philpott continuing in an incredible lead there. There's Lewis Manley on screen, and Philpott not even in view. Philpott coming round the final corner now. There he is, following behind another kart, and there's Lewis Manley. Really, this is a huge gap that Philpott has pulled out, especially when you consider it's Lewis Manley, who knows how to win around here, 4 times Formula Fast champion. So close to the end of the race. Sam Spinell, a race winner at all kinds of levels of karting, including World Championship level, has been made to look distinctly average. Number 8 kart, that's Zach Venn. Zach Venn holding up the race leader. Sean Briley, this is quite a win by Philpott over Lewis Manley, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I missed the first bit of the race, and I've never seen Lewis being dropped like this. I'd love to get his input on this straight after.
Absolutely, Sean. We saw you win your race, so you know how Philpott is down there in the lead. What are track conditions like this morning? We're very close to the end of this one. We'll be calling it in a second, but just give us a little insight into what things are like out there.
Unlike yesterday, where it took a long time to pick up because there were lots of quick heats, they've had a bit more running now, and it's probably going to hit peak time in the next couple of hours.
Absolutely. The more the karts are on the track, the warmer it gets. And here comes the checker flag. It's going to be Brad Philpott. Brad Philpott takes the win, and that's about the biggest defeat we've ever seen of Lewis Manley. Lewis Manley does the best he can, which is second place, a huge ton of points. And Sam Spinell, when you consider the standard, amazing standard of Sam Spinell, be dropped into third place like that. Sean, not only is it unbelievable the way Philpott's defeated Lewis Manley, but Sam Spinell being so relatively far back. I mean, we're talking about Sam Spinell here in third place. So how do you read that?
Well, I didn't actually see. James, where did he qualify in that?
Sam Spinell was, I believe, I think we're seeing pretty much the result from the start. But to actually see him gap like this, I mean, he is, 4/10 of a second. He's been consistently 4/10 of a second off the race winner, Philpott, which is aren't used to seeing runaway victories like that.
No, but I tell you what, I've been looking at Brad over practice, and he's actually come up and prepped and everything else, and this race. And this is Bradley we haven't seen indoor racing in a few years, I think. This is the first time I've really seen him getting his head down and pushing for the win, and it just shows you what he's actually capable of, really.
Absolutely, Sean. I mean, Brad obviously is a regular in the VLN series over at Nürburgring. Really, I think we could possibly say, with the greatest respect to Brad, he's really starting to take his indoor karting seriously once again. He's been here every time. He's this series organizer. He's been here